Few things describe better the thrill of an epic fantasy novel than the twist of Gandalf coming back from fire and water as Gandalf the White. What an amazing moment. And what an opportunity it was that I got some Lord of the Rings minis for my birthday. I never played the game and I didn't want to just paint the minis, so all was left was for me to decide which moment of the story I was going to recreate. And because I don't want to just store them afterwards or put it away, I decided to make a book nook. Let's see how. First things first, measurements. I don't want to make something too small or narrow. Fangorn is one of the oldest forests in Middle-earth, a very dense one, so I want the characters to be visible, but at the same time completely covered by the forest canopy. You can do a book nook with cardboard. I think it would be sturdy enough, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna use some 4mm chipboard that I'm gonna put together with hot glue. But only after making the main features of the diorama. Don't be your worst enemy. I'm not sure if I remember it correctly, but I think that when Gandalf shows himself, he's kind of above the others, like higher ground. It might be just the feeling of it, but I'm gonna make a swift slope towards the back part to emphasize this, and I'm also gonna make Gandalf stand over a rock. I think this is not a complicated diorama, it's just about adding the correct vibe to it. The soil of the forest, of such a forest, is not deeply covered with plants, but rather dead vegetation, leaves and roots that make the terrain completely uneven. So, after establishing the foundation, how do we give the soil a texture that is neither sand nor just rocks? Well, the hard part is that if you just flatten the compound, it's gonna look too smooth. And if you don't, it's gonna be too irregular. An easy fix to this could be to either use a product that simulates soil, which I don't own, mix sand with PVA glue and cover the surface, or my choice for today's need, just some toilet paper. As you see, I am flattening the surface completely, but afterwards, after mixing 75-25 water and PVA glue, I'm adding squares of toilet paper and I'm moistening them with a brush. I don't know if that's a word. So I can control where I want it flatter and where just a bit wrinkled. You can modify your work at any given point by adding more paper. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that specifically this diorama material, everyone has it, and I'll wish you luck if you don't. I'm gonna start adding roots and rocks, not vegetation yet. And while I do that, I also place the minis. Yes, I still didn't paint them, but I promise I will, to understand better the space. As you see, I'm placing Gandalf rather in the middle of the diorama and not in the back part, because even if the background won't be very visible, depth is key. So I'm gonna mark where the three companions are going to be, and then I will start with the roots and trees. I'm not sure how much I need, so I'll start adding, and let's see how much we need to create a proper vibe. Trees are essential, of course. The scene happens in a Fangorn's clearing, but it's still surrounded by trees. Hot glue trees it is this time. We need wire, hot glue, as in hot glue trees, gesso, some seafoam vegetation, priming in black, painting, and finally a bit more vegetation. As you see, I'm creating a deep foliage in the upper part of the tree, and I leave nothing in the lower branches. Well, not nothing, some moss lichen is needed, and to slowly spray some water is the best way to achieve good results. As I'm already painting, let's get on with the background. Of course, it's not the center of attention and actually it's barely gonna be visible, so I'm not sure if I'm overcomplicating myself here, but it needs to contribute to the overall vibe. The source of the light should be coming from above, so the small amount of light should be a bit more intense in the upper part. Therefore, I'm gonna use a grayish green and I'm gonna add a very desaturated version of it to create the lights. And because both recording and taking photos is apparently beyond my capabilities, you'll see how it looks as we progress with other things only. We have the sides and I'm finishing the base, so it comes what's always the hardest part. We need closure. Forest density, glue and decreasing room of maneuver. This requires some thinking. So, how to continue? Well, after fruitless deep research, I decided to go for a bottom-up approach because it sounds clever enough. It's about time we paint the minis. One of the things I think really helped in this specific kind of diorama is to mix the painted background with real elements, just gluing some vegetation directly to the sides and back. I think there's no technique in this process that I didn't do in a previous video, so please check out those, and also if you don't want to miss out future ones, considering clicking that subscribe button. If I get enough subs, I might be able to hire Popsy back. So here we are. It feels like it's almost done, but we are missing a key feature of this scene. And that is of course the beam of light that comes with the revealing of Gandalf to the three friends. Obviously I need some LED light to achieve that, because I can do magic, but only if it's a gathering, because it has flash. And I didn't want to just hang the lights like it's some kind of party, it would destroy the mood. That's why I placed one of the trees so close to Gandalf, so I could camouflage the light and momentarily blind the three friends. What's left is to paint the sides in black, which will contribute to emphasize the depth and help focus the viewer on the insides. And here it is, Gimli, Legolas and Aragorn about to be blinded by Gandalf, who returned from fire and water. And our Tolkien book Nook, immortalizing an idea really dear to me, which is that hope, even if it's called a fool's hope, should never be lost. This was a very fun project to make. That will also be very easy to store, definitely not a small feat for me. I hope you like it, let's try to make more videos. And remember, it wasn't just glue, it was also a forest.